Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a collective reading and energy update. So I'm going to start by shuffling the traditional tarot cards. By the way, thank you so much to each and every one of you who is tuned in today for this reading. We are all co-creators here on YouTube. And if you would like to tap your energy more strongly into the reading and allow me to pick up on it more easily and therefore channel more specifically for you, I do recommend liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as these are forms of energetic transfer that do allow me to pick up more easily on your energy and channel more specifically for you. I'm getting that the numbers 1 and 14 might be significant, also the number 144. But do keep in mind that whenever I channel very specific details in these readings, these are typically only meant for certain individuals. So only take them as they connect for you personally. So the first card to come out here is the World. This card is really a card of deep fulfillment, really finding a sense of wholeness and stability within the self that then begins to reflect in the external world. And I'm getting that for someone who's tuned in here, you've really done the inner work to come into that space of balance within yourself. And this is causing things to open up for you in the physical world. I'm hearing open doors and green lights, metaphorically speaking, are opening up in front of you as you are maintaining this energetic balance within yourself. Now, of course, the key here coming through from your guides is to really focus dominantly on maintaining that energetic balance within yourself, because your energy really is your currency in the world. And as you achieve that state of balance, peace, harmony, abundance within, your external world begins to reflect those energies as physical realities. I'm hearing master manifester. Whoever I'm tapping into here, you have always, I'm even seeing a child. So possibly when you were a child or from a young age, you've always had the ability to get what you want in life, to manifest in a really powerful way. Now, for someone I'm tapped into here, you may have always had really vivid dreams, either literally dreams at night or simply dreams in the form of daydreams, visions. I'm hearing imagination. People around you, particularly the adults around you when you were a child, may have said that you have a very vivid imagination. For some reason, I'm hearing ADHD, so I don't know if that connects with someone in some way, but I'm hearing that your mind operates on so many cylinders in a way that most people don't understand, and in a way that actually may have been devalued by other people. You may have been led to believe that your ability to, I'm hearing, run so many programs at once in your brain. You may be someone who's always thinking up a bunch of different ideas or mentally multitasking. You may have been taught that this way of visioning was a weakness because it was a distraction, but actually, I'm hearing all along, you were quote unquote distracted by the most important things. meaning that you've always had a deep sense of purpose. And so whenever you've been involved with things that you feel are not aligned with this higher purpose, or things that feel mundane to you, it might be really difficult to actually focus on them because your mind is aligned with a higher vision. So to other people, you might look like you're distracted, like you just have a very active imagination, but really this is you sensing into higher realities, meaning higher vibrational reality potentials, timeline potentials that are accessible to you, that you are actually channeling energy into with your thought, which is causing these higher timelines to be magnetically pulled to you over the course of time. The World card also stands for success, for achievement. For some reason, I'm seeing something about sand or the desert, so that might connect with someone. I'm seeing hair in a braid for someone listening as well. I feel that those who are in the Tower reversed energy, those who are trying to resist the collective shift happening on the planet, this shift from 3D to 5D, this shift from restriction and limitation mentality to freedom consciousness, abundant consciousness. People who are afraid of this radical change happening collectively, but also individually, as within, so without. These people are feeling heavily triggered by you and your energy at this time, because simply through your energetic presence, you are pushing them into their own tower moment. Now, of course, you're not doing this actively through your words or actions. It's just that your energy is very much aligned with the 5D. You embody the energy of abundance, of happiness, of peace, connectedness. So anyone who is trying to hold on to the old paradigm, trying to remain in those lower vibrational timelines, is actually naturally going to be called upwards by your energy, by your presence or connectedness to them. And this can actually be highly triggering for the unconscious ones, for anyone who is selecting to remain on lower vibrational timelines. But you're being asked to pay no mind, to not energetically feed any of these triggered people with your powerful thoughts and your powerful words, but to remain focused on the magnificent realities that you are manifesting into physical existence. So right as I was channeling that, two cards fell out of the deck. These cards are the Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess. Now, both of these cards are sitting on the sacral chakra, speaking to our connection to the present moment, even to our own physical body. I feel that as you remain fully connected to the present, releasing any futuristic projected fears or anxieties, equally releasing the temptation to go back into past experiences and relive them, remaining fully rooted in the moment. You are taking back, calling back all of your power. When people talk about giving your power away, the way that we give our power away to others is by investing energy outside of the present moment. When we invest energy in overthinking, overanalyzing past connections, situations, interactions, or we invest energy in futuristically thinking forward to potential interactions, experiences, connection points, etc. In either case, we are leaking our powerful reserves of energy. Someone I'm speaking to here, you may have gone off the grid a little bit socially when it comes to connecting with other people. You may be someone who, at this point in your soul's evolution, tends to not plan very far ahead socially. You might be someone who really likes to be spontaneous, who likes to be able to make decisions about who to connect with socially, platonically, etc. in the moment rather than in advance. To others, at times, this might actually look flaky, but the truth of this is you are recognizing at this really deep subconscious level that whenever you plan far in advance, you are feeding thoughts to those futuristic potential plans, people, timelines, and in a sense, keeping yourself a little bit locked in to a particular outcome or a particular reality. Now, of course, this doesn't need to be taken to the extreme. Of course, we are human here in the world, so we inherently tend to need to plan certain things ahead of time. I'm only speaking to the fact that someone has found themselves unconsciously guided to shift more of their focus and attention to the present, finding ways to be more spontaneous in different areas of their life in the present, rather than needing to overplan their own future. And this could be why, if you've been finding yourself behaving in that way unconsciously, then this might be why your guides have been leading you in that direction. Now, of course, as I always say, always take only what connects with your own intuition, because I do channel many different people, situations, and connections throughout these readings. And at the end of the day, these readings are meant to connect you with the intuitive voice within yourself that's highly unique, individualized, personalized guidance for you, and can only be accessed from within. So again, that feeling of resonance simply means something is in alignment with your own sense of intuition. Now, with the High Priestess here, I'm seeing that regardless of whether you connect in here as identifying more with the masculine polarity or with the feminine polarity, you are really embodying this High Priestess energy. You are someone who knows what you know. I know that's a very basic way of putting it, but you are highly intuitive. And at this point in your soul's evolution, I'm hearing this is like a checkpoint. I know this is really odd. It's almost like we are discussing someone's soul evolution in this incarnation up until this point. So if this is resonating with you, your guides might be using this as kind of a checkpoint moment to check in with you, to allow you to check in with your intuition and how your intuition has guided you so far in this lifetime along your soul's path. But anyway, whoever I'm speaking to here, at this stage of your soul's growth, you no longer feel the need to justify yourself. And that's a major marker of your growth, because I'm getting that in the past, you may have tended to attempt to over-explain yourself to people who quite simply were not on your frequency, and therefore no amount of words would allow them to understand you. If someone isn't on your level energetically, it doesn't matter if you use the perfect sequence of words to explain yourself. They are still not going to be able to hear you, because energetically speaking, they are tuned to an entirely different frequency. It's almost like those walkie-talkies that you may have had as a child. If you were not tuned in to the right number frequency, you wouldn't be able to hear the other person with the other walkie-talkie. Well, the same is true here. When you are communicating yourself to someone, it doesn't matter how beautiful, radiant, and eloquent you are. If they are not at your frequency energetically, they are not going to be able to even perceive you in your beauty and power, let alone understand you. You are realizing this at really deep levels, and because of that, you are now willing to stand in your empowerment, sometimes in your silence. You can know things in the silence without needing to feel like you constantly have to explain yourself or communicate what you know to people who, energetically speaking, are not capable of receiving that information. Now, for some of you, this may actually mean withdrawing your communication from certain people in your life. Specifically, I'm seeing something about a phone. So this might really specifically be phone calls or text message communication that you are cutting back on or withdrawing from certain people in your life. For others of you, this may be withdrawing or rebranding some of your presence on social media. I'm hearing choosing to allow people who are not on your wavelength to either not be able to perceive you in your beauty or not be able to understand you, knowing that doesn't mean that you are non-understandable. It simply means that you are operating at a much higher wavelength and frequency than that particular individual. Now, with the Wheel of Fortune card as well, I feel like you're spinning the wheel of your own destiny in some sense. This feels like major transitions when it comes to the cycles in your life that are now becoming evident in a more conscious, visible way. You may have found yourself recently noticing powerful changes that have taken place within yourself, within your life, in the way you operate, the way you show up in the world. Your spirit guides at this time may be subconsciously pointing out to you ways in which you've healed, grown, and evolved as a soul in order to encourage you to keep going along this path, to see how far you've come, and in acknowledging that progress, to keep taking those steps forward, even if at times you feel like you're walking in the dark. Someone might feel a pull to water at this time as some kind of an energy clearing modality. So you might be feeling drawn to particular bodies of water. You may be using taking baths or showers as a way to cleanse your energy. I don't know who that's for. Someone here could also simply be a water sign, and that might be why that's coming up. I'm also getting fox imagery for someone here as well. Now, I see that you're in this very chance energy. As there are these transitions of cycles in your life, it has this feeling of being both electrifying, like there's almost that staticky feeling that you get in the air before a thunderstorm. Except in this case, it's that feeling of premonition that something really powerful and beautiful is coming, but you might not quite be able to put it into words or really put your finger on it, as they say. This is your intuition telling you that you're on the right track energetically, mentally, and emotionally. Even if your path does not look linear to others or even make sense to others, remember, you're operating on an entirely different wavelength. You are also someone who is conforming to divine guidance as opposed to humanistic guidance. What this means is that you take steps forward based on how you feel inspired within yourself, not what necessarily quote unquote makes sense from a 3D human perspective. That means that while your path might look non-linear in the moment to others, over the course of time, they will notice that you are taking exponential leaps towards your dreams, goals, and desires because you are having the courage to remain fully present with yourself, spontaneous in the moment, meaning flexible when it comes to being able to follow the inspiration that springs up in the moment from within yourself, to follow out where that is leading you. Again, even if it doesn't necessarily look linear to the people around you, this is opening up really powerful options and opportunities that may look like good luck or good fortune to others with the Wheel of Fortune card. I'm getting something very specific about soulmates. I feel like you are in a highly attractive energy when it comes to drawing soulmate connections into your life, either platonically or romantically. For those of you who are feeling a bit closed off to the idea of meeting or connecting with anyone new in love, possibly you're already otherwise feeling romantically committed, either in 3D at a relationship level or at a soul level, your heart feels like it's somewhere else. If that is the case, know that these soulmates don't necessarily have to be romantic in nature. These could be platonic, really powerful soulmates. I'm hearing partners, like there's a very strong partnership energy, not just a friendship, but people coming in to provide some kind of mutual benefit for you, with you, towards a common goal that you may have with these others. That goal may be something financial, something work-related, something home-related. But it feels like soulmates that share some kind of real-time, similar hobby, purpose, goal, or interest in a way that the two of you can actually really benefit each other in a very noticeable way. So what else can I channel here for the soulmates coming into this person's life? Okay, so here we have the Five of Swords reversed. Someone could feel as though they've been going through a really challenging time when it comes to some of the closest connections in their life. For some reason, I felt this wave of emotion. I know this won't be for everyone, but for someone listening, I see someone very close to you who may have symbolically stabbed you in the back or betrayed you in some kind of way. And I feel that you're someone who really doesn't allow people into your inner circle that easily. So this was even more painful for you than for most, because you are someone who, it's not that you're slow to trust, it's that you are someone who exhibits a very rare energy. You are aware that you have a desirable energy that a lot of people platonically or romantically would desire to connect with you, and that you must be mindful of who you invest energy into. So whereas you know you're capable of experiencing connectedness to many different people, you tend to keep a tight inner circle, either platonically or possibly this is speaking to romantic connection for you as well. But whatever this betrayal was for someone, I feel like someone very close to you may have hurt you or betrayed you emotionally in some way. And with the King of Swords reversed, it's almost like someone going behind your back, or this betrayal feeling like it came suddenly or out of nowhere. Again, I don't know who I'm speaking to. This does feel very specific. Whoever may have betrayed this person here seems to be coming up as the King of Swords reversed. So this may have been a masculine energy, someone who was very much focused on themselves at your expense. And I feel like this created a lot of conflict between you, within you rather, but also between you, of course. I feel that something about this situation is healing, whether that connection was able to harmonize itself or you were in a period of deep healing from this that had to happen at a very, very deep subconscious level. Because again, this was someone you let very, very close. So it caused some damage to your energetic field when whoever this was hurt your feelings or betrayed your trust in some way. It feels like you are rediscovering peace within yourself after this situation, finally beginning to feel as though you are able to move forward in a peaceful, harmonious way in your life, mended energetically. And again, it feels like something had to happen very automatically, subconsciously, where almost like you were put by your guides in a sacred container that may have felt like solitude for some of you, where you were given the time and space to really recollect yourself, to heal from whatever happened in this experience, to move forward from a solid foundation of peace and harmony from within yourself after a situation that may have left you temporarily feeling really rattled. And I see you now beginning to move forward in some kind of a peaceful way. And right as I said that, the Three of Swords reversed. Yeah, it's like whoever I'm speaking to here, it's almost like a weight is being lifted off your chest in more of an actual literal way energetically than you might realize. This feeling of relief, like a weight's being lifted from your chest, is because it's like pain is being lifted from your heart chakra center. Some very deep-seated hurt or pain is being released from your heart. A period of healing has absolutely taken place here, particularly around the heart. And I feel that you finally come to a place where you're forgiving, either forgiving meaning maybe you've harmonized the connection with this external other person, or forgiveness in the sense that you have found peace, the peace that you know you deserve within yourself. And I see that this releasing of past pain is opening you up to greater heights of happiness. Whatever this was, it was emotionally affecting you more than you may have consciously realized. You may have had days where you couldn't get out of bed or where you felt extremely low emotionally, and you may not have even put together that this was actually connected to that particular experience. But I'm getting that for whoever I'm speaking to, these things really were connected. It's almost like this situation sent you on a roller coaster of emotions for a while with really unpredictable highs and lows. But now you're coming into balance. Again, going back to that World card, you coming into wholeness within yourself, particularly after a situation that may have left you feeling very broken. This is opening you up to experiencing more happiness than you would have thought possible. I'm hearing even just a year or a few years ago. This is a happiness that you have really been wanting for a long time and that you really deserve. I feel a very happy era coming into your life as a result of this healing that's taken place. What is this happiness era coming in? And right as I said that, we have the Six of Wands upright. Now, this is a powerful success, some kind of victory, a triumph. I have to say as well, this card can connect with being in the spotlight, having fame of some kind. Wow, very powerful cards at the bottom of the deck. It's almost like these cards coming out here are representing the powerful benefits coming as a result of this situation that you've healed from that you may have never seen coming, because we have the Star. We also have the Four of Wands here. So what I'm getting is that you are going to be very successful, or already are experiencing a great deal of success doing something that is deeply connected to creativity or spirituality, or a combination of these things. This also could be some form of healing. So for some of you listening, you might be in the medical professional, you might be into alternative healing, holistic health. You may be someone who is sharing something motivational, inspirational, spiritual, or creative online or in public. And I'm seeing that you are going to begin to see a picking up of success in these areas if that hasn't happened already. And I'm hearing you're turning heads, like you are attracting attention with however you are using these gifts of creativity, of healing, of spirituality, whatever this is for you. And it's almost like this puts you on an emotional high from having such success or receiving such reward in a sense, whether that's people beginning to notice and connecting with you, or whether that's some material thing for you. This is so fulfilling to you, not just materially, but also at a soul level. For whoever I'm speaking to here, this really feels like connecting your heart with your intuition and then channeling it into something that's highly material and visible, and also brings with it a lot of success. With the Four of Wands, I also see a lot of happiness when it comes to interconnection with others. Now, these could be those soulmates we talked about, either platonically or romantically, coming into your life. This also could just be speaking to the fact that from sharing your gifts or creativity or your voice in this way, you're going to be getting a stronger sense of true community in the physical world that's actually aligned with who you really are at a deeper level. And again, this is so powerful and exciting, particularly for you, because I'm picking up you are someone who has gone through very dark, heavy, lonely times, particularly through that specific heartbreak or loss or betrayal in your life. So this reading does feel like it's been very specific for a group of people. If this is for you, thank you for co-manifesting this reading, and I hope a message here reached you in a meaningful way. If this is resonating, I also want to let you know I will be continuing this reading now on Patreon. So in the Patreon version of this reading, I want to do a deeper dive into these potential soulmates you're attracting in. I just saw the number 111. So these could be either platonic or romantic or business partnership type soulmate situations. We're going to be channeling into some of those potentials. I'm also going to be channeling into any other energies that might be connected to you at this time. I really love those portions of the Patreon reading because it's very interesting to see how the energy of others externally might be affecting you or your energy field at this time. We'll also be channeling messages from your spirit guides or your higher self, whatever divine forces you personally connect with. So again, all of that additional channeled information will be in the Patreon reading, and that is linked in the pinned comment and description box under this video. I am going to be closing this first reading here on YouTube with one final Rumi Oracle card. So what is one final Rumi card to close this reading? And here we have Beyond Death, Life. So this is interestingly the number one card in the deck. And I wanted to say that for whoever I'm speaking to here, I feel like you've been through a bit of a rocky start, let's say, in this incarnation, a lot of hard times. It almost feels like with this card, regardless of what your earth age is, you are really just beginning to get started in this life, meaning that you are coming into a really powerful era of success, of happiness, of peace, of doing something in the world or living in a way that feels really aligned with who you really are at a soul level. You are really shining in a way that you never have prior, but also that very few people ever reach. Like very few people develop the kind of aura that you're currently radiating, because it's one that can only be developed through the very intense circumstances that you've gone through so far in this life. So I almost feel like this is the first chapter of a really beautiful unfolding story for you. And it's a really magical energy. So I'm just going to be sharing one guidebook message here. Footprints lead to the shore of the sea. Beyond that point, no trace remains. So here you are, an old soul at the edge of something you have known. at the cusp of an ending and a beginning. Perhaps you are already in surrender and falling in, or perhaps you are fearful and resisting as you greet your unknown destiny. Yet this moment is happening because your own divine soul has chosen for it to be this way so that love may grow. Yes, you shall know the truth, the knowledge that the divine is within you, guiding every unfolding moment of your life journey. No matter how dark it may first appear, the divine is with you in unflinching generosity, with compassion, and with fierce passion for your blossoming into all that you are, all that you can be. You are a beautiful, blazing soul having a human experience that defies explanation and opens you up to divinity. Now is not the time for fear or hesitation. Focus on what is becoming, whilst honoring what is no longer to be. So that feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. Again, if you feel guided to it, the link to the extended reading is under the video. Otherwise, I am sending you all so much love today. Have a beautiful weekend, and I will connect with you here again in Monday's reading.